So our mission is to connect people and businesses, right? And the thing that we'll keep coming back to is simple and easy, right? That's the hard part of our jobs, is to make it simple and easy for our customers. Now, how many of you thought that you'd be coming to learn from a guy from the cable industry on customer service? Right up there with the automobile company and airlines, and I know, I'm teasing. But when you look at us, our industry is not well respected for customer service, and we know that. In fact, we have a bit of a reputation that we have to overcome. So,
speaking of the crowd, you've talked a lot about social media and your customers being your greatest advocates. Can you speak a little bit about your view on crowdsourcing and peer-to-peer out in a social internet environment, almost like a Facebook? I mean, if you think about what's going on with at-home workers, but really using peer-to-peer on a crowdsourcing model, which is, I think, very early stage right now. But if you're looking for your best advocates and loyalties and affinity programs, that may be an area that companies look at. Is Time Warner Cable looking at that today? And what's your point of view of that as a industry servicing source?
So there were a couple, I understood a couple of different questions. One would be the crowdsourcing, and I consider social forums to be a automated, if you will, crowdsourcing, right? You're allowing your customers to post whatever they want, whenever they want, and other customers are helping to fix the problems or identify and help, and those that can't be fixed, you as a company have to go fix. So I look at we're not there yet, but that's what I think is our best foray into crowdsourcing. As far as at home, I'm a huge fan of at home agents, and especially in our company, we have, I think the slide was 40 plus customer service centers here in the US. That's not a sustainable model, right? We're going to go towards the consolidation to fewer, bigger. But certainly those people who were great for us but happen to live in a small city that isn't chosen for the consolidation should be given the opportunity to work at home. And just in general, I like that model a lot.
Right, so let me just ask a follow-up on crowdsourcing. We talked about the community, which is really a peer-to-peer support group, so to speak, but not really what you would think of what you would do at a call center. Take Convergys, you're answering tier 0, tier 1, tier 2. Do you think there's a model out there where you take crowdsourcing and they get paid, almost like an at-home model, they get accredited, but they are sourced through a social media crowd, and they're the Gen Ys, and they're potential customers, and they're able to not only solve a tier 0, tier 1, maybe even tier 2, but become a brand advocate or almost an extension of the at-home model, but a peer-to-peer model within an accredited, trained environment that might exist. I don't think there's one exists today anywhere in the marketplace, but do you think that's something, as you think of the communities and social communities, evolves to a commerce-driven model as opposed to a community service model?
Quite frankly, no. Now, doesn't mean it's not a great idea, doesn't mean we're not going to go there, but is it something that I've thought of that is on our roadmap for the next year or two? It's just not, right? We have, and perhaps it's because we have so many other ways that we can improve. I'll come back to community forums. They do exist where they have brand advocates, and there are people who reward. I know Best Buy, for instance, rewards some of their best, and they give stars and they give points and those kinds of things to the people who are most frequent answerers of problems and the best answerers of problems. But no, we don't have in our short-term plans, nothing on our roadmap that would more formally address or in a different way address crowdsourcing, again, other than social forums.
Pierre-Marc Jasmin from Triad Services. Small question, what's your view or when it's going to happen where Time Warner would have their mobile application for customer service, and do you believe that you can use customer service through the mobile application and also CSAT surveys through that? And where are you standing on
Yes, and yes, and yes. So we have mobile service applications available today. They're nowhere near. If you were to think back to the slide that I had where the matrix showed, gosh, here are all the problems. We aren't filled. We only have a few things that you can do on your mobile So we have the roadmap to get to the rest of them. Again, we start with what's our biggest call types. So you can pay your bill through the mobile phone. You can, find out what your minimum balance due is through the mobile phone. So we have started. We're making progress. That is one of the huge efforts on our roadmap going forward. And yes, we will. We don't today launch surveys to your mobile phone. We launch them, the way we do it is, we get you a record from CRM, we launch an IVR survey out to you, but there's no reason we can't do it over the mobile phone. What we're debating is that intrusive or not? Do you want to get a survey while you're driving? So we're talking about that. We're not there yet.
From the sales side, there's the collection of information. In other words, that there are a lot of people these days, we're seeing more and more people asking their social community, their social sphere, hey, what kind of TV do you have? What are you looking to purchase out there? They're asking their friends and their network, what would you suggest I go out and buy? If you can tap into that early sales cycle and be part of the conversation and be part of helping them evaluate which way they want to go, be yet another friend in that conversation to drive purchase, that is part of the sales cycle, and you should be part of that and engaging on that. From the marketing side, there's always pushing, but I would really caution on that end of it. In social media, we've seen lots of companies get burned from using social media as a push forum for just spitting content out there. But definitely, just like on the customer care side, in listening for that that message that says, hey, this is something we want to treat as a inbound call.
Right.
This could be something that you're listening for that says, hey, this could be a potential sale. And I think that's just as valid.
John, my question is about when you showed all the people that really liked you, or okay, Time Warner Cable, not you.
I was going to say, was that the blank screen? Man.
Clearly not. But as far as like your customers, honestly, when we saw that funnel, and this kind of goes to the sales, but also goes definitely to the care. The thing I'm looking at is, one, do you follow your customers? Like, do you, in your CRM or in any way, do you try to
We're
narrow
not
it
stalking.
down?
I mean,
Well, I mean, it's public forum though.
Yeah.
But, do you ask them for their Twitter accounts? Do you have them able to log in via their Twitter accounts so that you can open up that filter to that customer? Or is your customer base just so large that that's unmanageable?
Well,
And the other thing is, how do you select, the thing I'm having problems with and the things that I think a lot of people are looking at is, how do you select your keywords? How do you go through that type of, Time Warner Cable,
Right.
or TWC or TW or whatever that may be?
so I'll answer the second one first, but you might have to remind me to go back to the first one. So how do we decide which keywords? It's more intuitive than it is scientific, and we're hoping that, remember I think it was the funnel slide, no, it was the deep diver slide with the tools. Those tools are going to help us get better at measuring, if I use these words, what percent of them are really problems that I can solve versus those that, if I use these words, they are, broadcasts of complaints or false positives. We're not there yet. It's been intuitive rather than scientific so far. But that's, again, we're really looking at the tool sets out there so that we can go from intuitive to scientific, right? We think we are pretty darn good at using analytics from our service interactions to predict problems and, try to anticipate issues with customers and those kinds of things. But we know we have a lot of work, and that's not just in the social media space. That's, gosh, the tools out there are so wonderful today. So I'd give us, I think if you grade us on the scale of improvement, we're tremendous. If you grade against the scale of, where you want to be, how high can the trees grow, we're babes in the woods, right? So We do know a lot about you, so you in particular, you know. No, so we don't today. Again, it's too new for us. We're still in, I'd say, the discovery stage of how best to use things. You can't, you can access us through Twitter directly at twchelp.com kind of thing, but you can't launch. We have to go find you. You can't proactively launch questions to us unless you come through that channel or you go directly to our Facebook page. We do scour, we do go through some of the forums that are related to our industry. So there's one called DSL.com. It's not ours, and we're not a DSL company, but it's really a broadband forum. And so that's one that we do choose. And so, you know, we just have a bunch of bright folks that try things, right? And again, so I describe it as more intuitive than scientific right now, but we'll get there.